Hope everyone's Sunday is going really well. Got to see a massive win today for the 49ers, and Trey Lance picked up his first career win. So, obviously, I think everyone's more focused on Trey Lance right now than everything else. And I will get to the defensive side, get to the other players. But first off, I want to talk about Trey Lance. Now, he starts this game off, looks a little bit rusty, a little bit, not rusty, but a little bit nervous. Doesn't really look quite like, missing some of these big throws. The interception, awful play on that one. But you see him kind of pick it up in the second half, and he ends up going 6 of 10 for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half. So he looked really, really good in the second half. You saw that big play potential. You saw him dotting up some guys on the sideline. Ayuk had a huge game in this one, 4 catches, 94 yards. Now, most of that came in the early part. And then you see Deebo Samuel with the huge catch at the end to kind of finish that game. But I think we saw Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan. They're not really like dialed in together. They haven't meshed yet. Definitely not a ton of trust from Kyle early on. You see them running the ball on third down. You see them not really trying to push it at all. But then, you stick with it. You see Trey Lance make the big play later in the game, and he finishes with a really, really good box score stat line, I guess. He goes 16 of 21, which is a 69% completion percentage. He ends up having, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Only got sacked 1 time. That's really good numbers. Now, I don't think that he looked quite up to those numbers, but when you're looking at a guy who's 21 years old, barely played in college football as a quarterback, let alone the NFL, making his second career start, this is a huge game. This is a huge performance by him. And I mean, I think everyone has to look at this as a big plus. He came out, he looked rusty. He almost got picked off when he threw the ball to Ayuk on the sideline at the end. I've had more of an issue with them even trying to throw the ball with 7 seconds left. It didn't really net them anything because they had a penalty and then they only got a couple yards out of it. Almost throw a pick. I mean, you saw a couple bad decisions early, but for the most part, he's pretty safe with the football, tucking and running when there's nothing there. But they got to be better on first and second down with him under center, I think. In the second half, we got to see them play a little bit more downhill. We got to see Elijah Mitchell really take over that game. You got to see the offensive line take over that game. That wasn't prevalent in the first half. And in the Cardinals game earlier this year, you didn't see that either. Now, a lot of that is going to become just because he's not making those routine plays yet. That's going to be the biggest thing. I think if you're going to be knocking him, that is 100% the biggest knock right now. He doesn't make those routine plays. The motion takes forever. He doesn't get the ball out quick, right? That's super normal with a rookie quarterback. So I don't know why everyone's losing their mind over this. This dude is 21 years old. He's a 21-year-old quarterback. He went out there and had a solid game. Nothing insane, but he looked pretty good. So you got to give him some credit there. I think that overall, this is a big step. You heard all the hype about him looking a lot better in practice. I think we saw today, like he looked quite a bit better. Now, you go 69% completion percentage. He was not just dinking and dunking. He was letting it rip. That is really, really good. Definitely want to see the motion cleaned up. That's going to be the biggest thing moving forward with him. I've said it before on this channel. That's an off-season thing. That's not something that they're working on right now. So you're going to see him get a little bit better this year or this off-season, and then probably have that second, finalize the motion, have it all worked out the next offseason. So this is a process. This isn't something where this guy should be coming out here looking like Aaron Rodgers in this offense. I mean, it seems like a lot of fans are expecting that or expecting it to look nicer than it does with Jimmy at center. But what we see with Jimmy is that a lot of stuff is super easy throws across the middle. Trey Lance isn't going to do that. The offense isn't going to look the same. I also saw some people talking about, run the same offense that they do with Jimmy, with Trey Lance. That doesn't make any sense. Trey Lance is a completely different skill set. He's not going to sit there and have a quick motion, just get it off across the middle. That's not what it's going to look like. It's going to look like him rolling out, him hitting these deep plays, having these explosive plays. Now, what they need to figure out how to do is to get that short to intermediate air working a little bit better. With the longer motion, that becomes a lot harder. So I think that's going to be the biggest issue I think with him right now. Until that's cleaned up, that's something that I expect to be cleaned up. But that's the biggest issue right now with him. A couple bad decisions, but overall, you're going to see that with young quarterbacks. Big game, looked good, looked very composed. I mean, you see him laughing, joking around on the sideline. He completes a big pass. He looks over at Kyle, smirks at him. You see that he's comfortable, and I think that's a huge thing. So really, really big signs, I think, from him that show hey, he's going to be a good quarterback for the Niners. Still super early to tell, so not crowning him a champ or anything just yet here, but I do like him. I had him as my quarterback too. I'm very high on him. Anyone that's like, oh, this guy's not it. He's 21 years old. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure that you had the same takes about Josh Allen. We saw how those turned out. I mean, Josh Allen, as a rookie, went 10 touchdowns to 9 picks at 52% completion percentage. That's awful. That's horrible. Look where he is now. He's leading his team to trying to have a Super Bowl run. I don't think they're going to have one this year, but, he's had a great year. So 2 great years, actually. So, I mean, got to have some patience with the young quarterback. Now, other guys on offense, Ayuk had a couple big plays. Debo had the one big play. Mitchell looked great. I think he had 5 yards per carry, or a little over 5 yards per carry. Let's see, yeah, 5.7 yards per carry, 21 carries for 119 yards, couple catches for 11 yards and a touchdown. Massive game. He is huge to have back. And then defensively, I think you got to give the game ball of this one to Fred. He's all over the place. 15 tackles today from Fred, and you saw him in the backfield. You saw him making big plays. I thought he was a monster today. Samson Ebukam, Arden Key kind of came on a sack. Jordan Willis just didn't get blocked on one. That was a massive sack. But, I mean, Eric Armstead, he had a sack. He had a big play. I don't know if he got credited with the sack. So he got credited with half a sack. I'm checking it right here. But he had another play where he completely bull rushed, and they ended up getting a sack. I think that was the Ebukam one, but it was because of Eric Armstead. So he provided a great push inside. DJ Jones was making plays all over the place. Kowalski Tart had a couple big plays. Ambry Thomas, he's there. He's got to improve the ball skills, but he's there in a lot of these plays. So hopefully you see some positive signs from him. He's definitely got better each week, I think, early on here, or not early on, but late in the season when he's coming in relief. We also saw something interesting. Josh Norman benched for Dante Johnson. Dante Johnson ended up coming up with a big play on 4th down. Now, the play that Josh Norman got called for PI on, I didn't think it was that bad. I was a little bit surprised that they benched him, but obviously it's been an issue all year, so not going to knock the Niners or anyone on the defensive side for benching Josh Norman. He's been pretty bad this season, but Dante Johnson has also struggled, but came in clutch in this one. So I guess the big question defensively now, and you guys answer this in the comments, is it going to be E-Man and Ambry Thomas at corner, or is it going to be E-Man and Dante, or E-Man and Josh Norman? Like, what's the combo that once E-Man comes back, what are they going to rock with? I would probably lean it's going to be Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas, which I don't think we would have said that about 6-8 weeks ago. So really big strides from Ambry Thomas in his rookie year. He's probably going to be an outside starting corner in the playoffs, which a little scary, but I mean, at least we've seen some improvement from him. Outside of that, though, defensive line, didn't really see Bosa all over the place. Now, they were double teaming him. He got held a couple times, got called for a couple big holdings. But overall, other guys are stepping up. Arden Key, dude, has been an absolute monster this year. I was really high on him in preseason. I'm so happy I was, because he has come through huge down the stretch. And most of it has been in the second half of the season. He's probably had the best sack number. Bosa definitely has. He's probably had the second best sack numbers on the team. And he's generating a lot of pressure. When he's inside on 3rd down, he is nasty. He is really, really hard to compete with. Saw Marcel Harris had an interception, then he fumbled it. Forward progress. Apparently he was down, but I don't know about that one. I think the Niners got a little lucky on that call. But overall, this is a really, really big game, and Trey Lance is going to be the big story here. I thought he looked good. Very happy with it. You see that he definitely likes throwing the ball to Ayuk, which is always cool to see the young players doing that stuff. Didn't see much of George Kittle today. Not going to be all crazy about it. Trey Lance isn't really carving up the middle like Jimmy Garoppolo does, so that makes sense. You're going to see the outside receivers excel a little bit more, and especially with Brandon Ayuk, run those deeper outs, kind of post corners, those kind of routes coming back to the ball. Dig type plays. We saw him on a slant on that 3rd down. That was awesome. Picked up a ton of yards, but overall, big strides, I think, today from Trey when you compare it to his first game against the Cardinals. But anyone freaking out saying that he's not looking good, like, we gotta calm down a little bit. This dude is 21 years old. It's not going to look perfect. The motion is absolutely the biggest question mark moving forward. Also want to see him make a little bit better decisions. He did a really good job of that at North Dakota. But obviously, game's a lot faster now in the NFL. So don't crown him the champ or anything yet, but he looked really good, I think, today. And I think the second half stats, second half performance shows, hey, he didn't look good early on. Stuck with him. He started feeling it. He was comfortable all game. Ends up making those big plays down the stretch to win the 49ers this game. And they didn't clinch the playoff berth, but they need to either win next week or the Saints need to lose against the Falcons. We'll see how that turns out. Maybe also, I think if the Vikings win out too, but they play the Packers tonight and they do not have Kirk Cousins. It's going to be really hard for them to come away with a win. So it's probably going to go down to, do the 49ers win? And if they don't, do the Saints lose to the Falcons? So really, really tight race in the playoffs. But Trey Lance gets it done today. Great first career win. Awesome to see it. Go 49ers. And hopefully somehow the Vikings pull this Sunday Night Football game out. But I'll talk to you guys very soon.